Hi, I'm Sarah Marks, a librarian at UMass Lowell. I've been a Wikipedia editor for over 10 years, playing different roles during that time. Sometimes I'm a researcher watching things happen. Sometimes I'm an editor, an entry creator, and even a new entry reviewer. I'm going to share 10 of my tips for editing Wikipedia. I'm going to show screenshot examples from the entries I'm often working on. You'll notice I have a few more options than you do because of the different roles I play on Wikipedia. But don't worry about those right now. My first tip is to look at the talk page for an entry. Every entry on Wikipedia has a talk page. This is a page where editors can organize changes, questions can be asked and answered, and people can comment on the entry. If you need ideas on where to start on an entry, you can check here to see what other editors may see as needed. Another thing you can do on talk pages is identify projects, their quality ranking, and priority for every entry. Every entry should be associated with a project, one that can identify its current level of development and its priority within the project. If a page you're working on doesn't have a project, add one to the talk page, and let me know if you need help doing that. This brings me to tip 3. Use those projects to help you find more entries to edit. Projects are collaborative efforts to improve entries that center around the same theme. This is a good way to identify the other articles on the same topic. At the project page, you can often find out how they evaluate the development and the quality of each entry and set priorities. Your fellow editors are a good way to get some feedback. Identify those who are leading projects. Identify who's working extensively on an article or who has left comments on your talk page. These people can give you feedback and support. Leave a message on someone else's talk page by clicking on New Section. Don't just leave a comment unsigned like this person did on my talk page. Clicking New Section will allow you to type in your message and it will help you format it. Your watch list is your way of tracking when entries have been updated and who updated them. When you edit an entry, it's automatically added to your watch list. You can see on mine there are user pages and talk pages as well as entries. You can see differences between current versions and previous versions, and it tells you what notes people left with their edit. Side note, when you edit, please make sure you leave a note on what you did so people can see that on their watch lists to help them make decisions. You can actually add entries without editing them, just so they'll show up in your watch list. On every entry where the editing options are, you'll see the star icon. Just click the star icon to add the entry to your watch list. If it's already blue, then you're already watching it, and you can unclick it by clicking on the blue star. That will remove it from your watch list. One of the biggest hurdles for new editors is learning the code behind Wikipedia. It used to be that you had to know it to edit, but you don't have to learn Wikicode if you don't want to now. The visual editor can be used on entries and will guide you through the formatting decisions you have to make. You can easily create the citations, add in images, links, and make an entry nicer to look at without having to learn the source code to do it. To use the visual editor, instead of clicking on Edit Source, just click on the link that simply says Edit. This is my preferred way to edit too, and I've been editing for years. Each user has his or her own sandbox where you can practice editing, develop new entries. There's a sandbox for all of Wikipedia's editors to use, but each day the content on it gets wiped clean. Your own personal sandbox remains until you remove the content yourself. So notice the heading. This is one of mine. It tells you how to set one up. You click on your sandbox link, add a slash, and then the name of your page. This example of a page is one that a colleague and I are working on. You don't have to follow any rules because this is your space. So you can simply add a list of links, a list of citations, notes to yourself. Just make sure all that's clear when you're ready to move your content to the entry. When I first started editing, I found it difficult to decide what to work on. I quickly learned to play to my strengths. For you, I would encourage you to not feel like you have to do everything when you're working on an entry. Get comfortable by doing the same thing I did. Are you good with grammar and spelling? Fix it. Are you good with finding sources and citation? Find some. This will help you learn and then get more comfortable to take on other tasks. Remember, the edits that you make may disappear or change over time. Sometimes they'll be removed right away. Nobody owns Wikipedia and any individual entry. Before you react, look to see why it was changed. Feel free to ask the editor about the change if you need more clarification. It is sometimes easy to get angry when content you worked on is removed from the entry. Make sure that when you ask for advice and input on why a change was made, that you are polite and civil. When challenged, remain civil when trying to argue your points. Even if the other editor seems to be attacking you, don't respond the same way. It's easy to forget to do this. Even I forget sometimes. But if you need more information about their value of this ownership of content, I've given you the page and a screenshot of the basics. Bullying is an acknowledged problem on Wikipedia, and it can often turn editors away. If it happens to you, be civil in your response and look for help. If you think you're in your right, stand your ground and get support. If it persists, look beyond that for help. I'm always happy to help, and there is mediation available if it can't be resolved. Remember, we are often only interacting with a screen and not the people on the other side of it. Not only is it hard to remember there's a real person on the other side, but we often read things differently than they're intended to be read, based on our emotional state. So walk away and come back if you think you're going to react in anger, and ask others to give you some feedback. Get more information about this policy on the page I've listed. So those are my 10 tips for you. I have some other videos I'm working on that will help you deal with tips for copyright and photos, tips for creating new entries, and if there are other topics you'd like my input on, I'm happy to create a video about that too. Even though I'm all the way in Massachusetts, I'm happy to help as much as I can. So if there's something you want to know more about, feel free to ask me anytime.